Well, hey everybody, welcome to DeHaven Family Farm. If it's your first time joining me here on the channel, I appreciate you stopping in. I hope you'll hit the subscribe and the like button. I hope you'll stick around. If you like heavy equipment videos, skid steers, mini excavators, if you like antique tractors, farming videos, repair videos, maintenance videos, all that kind of stuff you're going to see on the channel. But today what we're going to talk about is how to get top dollar for your equipment at auction. So right here in front of you is a whole line of equipment and attachments that I'm going to be taking to our upcoming auction. This is actually only some of the things I'm taking. I plan on selling some stuff and bringing in some different type of attachments. So in order to do that, you know, the prices of everything have gone crazy in the world. I want to get top dollar for my equipment so that I can take that money and go purchase the different attachments that I want. So in order to do that, we have to look at a couple different things. We'll start with a piece of equipment. Now, I'm not taking the skid steer there, but that's just an example. So if you're going to take a skid steer, a car, a truck, a mini excavator, a tractor, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you clean the inside of the cab. There's nothing worse than going and looking at a truck or a piece of equipment and it looks like a pigsty. Nobody's taking care of it. Just taking 20 minutes to wipe down the inside, take the trash out, vacuum it up quick, goes a long way in the presentation of that unit. Washing a piece of equipment goes a long way. You know, if you're trying to get money for some stuff that's been sitting out in the weeds and it's got moss growing on it, pressure wash it off, make it look a little more presentable. I have a couple pieces here, this small set of pallet forks that's been laying around. You can see it's got leaves all in it and grass and dirt and crap. This is all going to be cleaned off before I take it to the auction. These guys here too. I mean, I know it seems silly, but if it doesn't look like a piece of equipment was well taken care of, people are not going to pay top dollar for it. So something as simple as getting it cleaned up can make a difference. So let's talk about paint here a little bit. I have some equipment in various degrees of paint. So I've got this guy here that I'm going to completely paint. You can see everything's faded here. This is a nice little 6-foot Cultipacker. It's in good condition, but it doesn't present well. It looks like an old rusty piece of farm equipment. So I already took the grinder with the wire brush wheel on it, and I went through and knocked a bunch of the loose paint off. We're gonna prime and paint that. It's gonna look like new. It's gonna present well. Now, on a piece of equipment like this is a big 8-foot box scraper. I used this on one project, was all I needed it for. So you can see the paint looks really shiny, it looks nice. But the scraper blade has some stuff taken off. It's got a little bit of rust on it just because some of the paint was wore off and it's been sitting outside. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean this scraper blade off, wipe it down, and I'm gonna throw a quick coat of paint on it. Probably in total that's going to take me 20 minutes, but it's going to make that piece of equipment present as though it's new, because again, as you can see, the rest of it looks brand new. It's only a year old. So then we come to this stuff over here. So this box scraper is I don't know, 5 years old or whatever. It has been used more, but same thing. I'm going to touch up the black on it. I'm going to touch up some of these other little rusty spots, just kind of clean it up, make it look a little bit more presentable so I can get more money for it. Now on these guys here, you don't always have to paint everything. So these guys are brand new, they've been sitting around, but they just look faded. Now you could take them just as they are, but again, if you want top dollar, what I'm going to do with this and some of the other attachments that have good paint but they look faded is I'm going to throw a quick clear coat on them. I got a spray can with some clear coat. Again, it's probably going to take me less than 10 minutes per item here, these bale spears, but it's going to shine them up and make them look brand new. Same thing with this attachment. This is only a few years old. The paint's kind of faded from it sitting outside, got a few little rusty spots. Gonna touch those up and then throw that clear coat on here. It's gonna look like new. This set of forks, I am going to paint the forks on it. These are brand new, never been used, but they've been sitting around. If someone were to see them at the auction like this, they'd assume that they were 5 years old and been used quite a bit. And that's not the case at all. By the time I get done with this set of forks, it's going to look brand new, because it is. And they are made in the USA too. So some other things to consider when you're taking equipment. If your equipment has grease fittings on it, or chains, or anything that should be lubricated, do it. It's gonna show a sign of that piece of equipment was taken care of. Don't send something with dry, rusty chains and dried out bearings and things like that on it. Just take the 10 minutes, grease it, lube it up so it looks like it's field ready. So if you're taking a truck, skid steer, whatever, tractor, at the very minimum, at least make sure you change the oil in it, put a new filter on it. Again, if it's been done recently, that's fine, but if the thing's been sitting around forever, it's got an old rusty oil filter on it because it's been sitting out in the weather, the oil's black and looking like crap, just change the oil in it. I know that's a little bit more expensive of a task in today's prices, but it's worth it, again, to show that that piece of equipment has been maintained. And same thing, tires. At least make sure you don't have any flat tires over there. There's nothing worse than looking at something you're gonna tow home, maybe on the road, like a hay wagon, and you wanna just tow it home, but it's got a flat tire on it. I can guarantee you that people are not going to bid as much on something if they have to take that tire off take it somewhere to get it fixed or whatever, and then come back to the auction house to take that piece of equipment home. The faster they can get in and out of there, the better. That's going to add some value. So if you have tires that go flat, just take a minute, put a tube in it, put something in it to make sure that tire won't go flat while it's at the auction. And I think the final thing I want to talk about, just trying to keep this video short, is the presentation of your item. We talked about a lot of ways to present that item, making sure it's neat and clean, lubricated, looks good. But if you're taking something oddball, I'm going to give an example, a garage door. In the past, I had some garage doors. We put new ones on the garage at our house. So I had some nice garage doors. They were a little bit older, but they were in good condition. So rather than just take a pile of junk over there and set it on the ground, what we did was we stacked everything up nice and neatly. All the doors, the track, we wrapped some plastic stuff around it. I even put a piece of paper on there saying like what size the door was, included tracks and springs. Again, it probably took us an extra 15 minutes, but it presented those garage doors neat, orderly, like all the pieces are there, and it wasn't just a pile of junk where somebody's going to question whether they're going to get everything or not. So again, this all comes down to presentation at the auction. All right, just to give you guys a little update on how things are going. I got some paint working on this guy here. Second coat of green, second coat of red. Have to do a little touch-up work because some of the spots are a little messy. So I'm still working on that. These guys here, we did not paint that blade. I clear coated it. We did paint, I think my wife painted the inside of that one, but all of these have been clear coated. So they're nice and shiny now. You can see how shiny that is in the camera. That is not painted, that's just a clear coat. Got these little forks clear coated, and I've actually got these two round bale spears on the pallet. I bought this plastic strapping kit because I'm always hauling stuff on pallets. So I just thought this might be kind of easier. So I'm going to work on, I'm going to let this stuff dry overnight, and then tomorrow we'll work on getting things palletized and loaded up to take over. I'll just show you guys a quick clip of that before we end the video. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. These are just things that I do when I take equipment to the auction to make sure that I can get top dollar. If you guys have any other suggestions on how to get top dollar for equipment, leave it in the comment section down below. It'll help me out. It'll help anybody out who watches this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much, and I sure hope to see y'all in the next video. Well, here's everything on the first load, cleaned up, strapped down on pallets, ready to go. So I'm going to take this over the auction.